What's up? So this is going to be hopefully a brief video as to why I think Plexi's the goated Claude Code app. If you don't know, Plexi's a terminal multiplexer. Works like, the Apple Mac terminal, except it's better in every way. And it has, a built-in app runtime, which was running in a really bad frame rate. But none of that matters right now, because what matters right now is the example that came to mind before I started filming. That's the only thing that ever matters. So in this example, as you can see, I'm like messing around with this terminal ambient music generator app that I'm working on. Sounds like this. So yeah, I could be having that thought all day. Now the thing that happens when you're, building a TUI or any kind of application is you're gonna wanna just, sometimes be taking notes. You're talking to an agent, you're back and forthing. Now in any other code editor, that is typically like already pre-programmed in. Like if I were to open up, this for example, I'm not gonna open up an actual thing, but you get the gist. Like you've got an agent over here, you've got maybe a terminal down here, and there's some degree of customization going on here, but you are beholden to a UI that's kind of built for you. And it's gonna be that depending on, regardless of the project. But a lot of the times the app you're actually working in might best serve you if it behaved a little bit differently. And what I tried to do with Plexi was make something that can move, you can move mountains essentially in terms of how you want the UI to look and feel. I attempted to really get a whole operating system into an app here, or at least that's what I'm in the process of working on. So in today's example, sounds so ridiculous. In today's example though, this is on screen too. As you can see, I'm over here. If I wanted more screens, I can hit Command N and that'll pull up whole new windows, and these can have separate panes in them with Command D, Command Shift D for down, Command T for new tabs, as you can see, split them up. But what's really cool, what I love a lot, is Command Shift Space is going to give you a notes thing. And these are, you can rename the pane. We're going to call this Note 1. And, I could be anywhere in this context and see, and jump to that Note 1. So you've got like a robust notes engine. And, I'll use this for different things intermittently for taking notes, as I'm working. Because let's say in this case, I'm building this app out, and then I have some ideas for notes that I'm not ready to like synthesize into actual agent commands. I can just split this, hit Command Shift, and start talking about stuff here. And just, pop back over to the app, using key commands, keep working, keep typing. Like, if I got new notes, I could add it to there. I could add a new one here. New note, make it real big. Close this, I can open new tabs. It's just unbelievably versatile. And that leads to really generative, like once you get in the headspace of just like driving Plexi for a few days, you get in the headspace of like, the UI can be whatever you need it to be at a particular time. And today I ended up doing something for the first time that I thought was really useful. Sequentially laying out my sort of the tasks and what I'm thinking about for this app. And that was another worthwhile thing to mention. Command space or Command Enter is going to get you a full screen version of the app, so you can be typing stuff in here. It's a little small, but hello. And then that's just going to be this pane right here. I keep trying to point with my finger as if it's going to show up on screen. It's my first day, okay? Sorry, that was aggressive. Make that smaller. But so now, because sometimes I'm running parallel agents, so maybe I have, a Claude Code instance up here, maybe I have a Codex instance over here, and that's another really, skip forever. It's another really good reason to be, aiming at using the terminal as your primary interface, is because like, on any given notice, any day, you don't have to change your whole workflow over. Let's say you're using Claude and they disable Fable or whatever. You don't want to be beholden to somebody's whole, ecosystem just because that's the app that you're using. But when you're in the terminal, switching which coding agent you're using is as simple as, 2 letters. It's not opening a whole new binary application. It's just it's just a different app. There's just a different, terminal agent, which is a way easier thing. Like whenever, like the Fable situation that happened, whatever else may come down the road, a new model comes out that's better than Codex or whatever Anthropic has to offer. And, maybe it's available in OpenRouter, or, maybe OpenRouter drops their own. I want my general workflow to stay as much the same as possible, and using terminal coding agents gives you that in a big way. And also, not just terminal coding agents, but doing so in Plexi just gives me this workflow modularity where I can experiment with stuff like this. For example, some other days I might be like, I'm just gonna, like, these are the contexts that I'm working on. Some other days I might be like, let me just create, thing 1, thing 2, and let me just switch between them with numbers 6 and 7, and I'll just, keep doing whatever I'm doing with these contexts, Some days I'll keep it all in one context, and instead just hide the sidebar and just do everything with different lateral panes, kind of like it looks here. Some days I might just do everything, in one pane. You might work, I don't know, and today, for example, just what came to mind, wow, that peaked the audio like crazy. I apologize. I'm gonna turn that down. Today, for whatever reason, I was like, talking to a coding agent, and then I split it vertically, and then started dropping down my notes. But then as things came up that I might want to queue after this, I just add a new note, and you're just hitting Command D to split vertically. And then I could be, over here, I'm like, actually, this is the most important thing. So like thing 1, I can then take these and hit Command, Command Control, left, right, up, down. I don't know why I'd want it up there, but you can, is the point. But you can move things around with priority, so they're kind of like tickets in a kitchen now. And you can just jump between them, move them around, and I don't know. I found myself doing that for this because I know that in this work tree the things I'm working on are this. But as soon as this lands, I need to entertain these ideas, and these are both things that don't relate to anything that I'm working on here. So as soon as I send, what's really interesting is I can then take this and be like, this is relevant for this conversation I'm having. I could grab it, cut it, paste it in there, send that. This pane I can keep open, I can close it. A really nice touch about Plexi too is, on the one hand you can name these panes. I'll just call it Prio 1, and then you can, open up all your notes and you'll see it in there theoretically. There it is, Prio 1, Morphe 1. It shows the content, which is great. But what's cool is if you clear the note out so it's empty and then you close it from an empty state, you're not going to have an empty note drifting around in here, which is really cool. So you can just think about things in terms of like, once this note's empty and I close it, it's not there anymore. But if ever you're, actually taking notes that are important, notes so important, and I'll call it really valuable, and that's how that's spelled. I could always find it. I could be, in a new window, I could be splitting things up. I'd be like, I need that note. Oh, that's really valuable, really important. There it is behind the minimap. But if, like I said, if at any point that goes away and you close the note, it's gone. You don't got to worry about it. How cool is that? Nice little touch. Anyway, bring that minimap back. I could go on, and I do. But I just thought, I was playing around with this, my ambient music generator. And just like taking notes as I was going along, and I thought, damn, this lateral ticket approach is cool. But like, what's so fabulous about this app is that I could do this, and it was so easy to just do, but it's not what you have to do. You could open this app and never mess with this type of flow. You could do, something I used to do is just like queue a bunch of agents up sequentially. So I'd be like, queuing up an agent here, queuing up an agent here, doing something, and then just typing in these chats while this one's working, and then just, sequentially queuing things like that. And then maybe if some agent requires something else, you could throw one down here. I don't know. And there's even tabs. if tabs are your thing. They're not mine. I mean, I don't use them really, just because I don't like Shift Command H to move laterally, and we can't do brackets to go back because that takes you back to a previously active pane, which is useful backward and forward between panes. So if you can think of a better way to move laterally between tabs, something more ergonomic than Shift Command H and L, just because Shift Command J and K are moving up and down contexts, which I like. This I don't love, so we're working on that. I'm gonna stop. I said short. This is what it is. All right, love you. Have fun. Let me know what you think.